Welcome back to the channel, guys. Hey, I have a video coming up that I gotta cut really soon showing the final build of our woodshed that we did up at the property. But we are back home now, and as it turns out, I just got a radio sent to me by a company that I kind of like. I reviewed one of their radios last year, and this was the Retevis RT67V. It's a Murs radio. So that video did okay, and people were kind of interested in the Murs band. So we did a little bit of a review. Retevis saw that video and they said, well, hey, would you review another radio that we make? And so they sent this out a little while ago, and this is the Retevis RT68. So this is an FRS radio. It doesn't require any licensing, similar to the Murs radio. Now I like Murs because nobody really uses Murs and there's hardly anything on the market. There is, however, a lot of FRS radios on the market, but this one's really pretty nice. It does not do GMRS, which I like because then you don't need a license at all. And it's actually a really nice and compact design. It has a decent lithium battery in it, similar to the Murs radio. So you have the RT27 Murs, the RT68 FRS radio, and then this is a Midland. You've probably seen this before. This is a Midland FRS/GMRS radio. They still make very similar radios to this. So this is probably the American branded competition to something like this. They do make FRS specific radios, and then periodically I get sent things, and this is a radio by a company called Oliwiz, and I started out doing a review on this. I can show you a little clip of it. It's terrible. So you have to kind of be careful with some of these import radio brands, and some of them just kind of throw you something that look very similar. I mean, it looks really similar in a lot of ways, the controls to other ones, but you got to be careful because yeah, they are cheap. But I told these guys, I said, listen, I did a review on it and it's terrible, and then I never heard from them again. So they were begging me to do a review. We'll send you out 4 radios. This thing's illegal to operate unless you have a business license. I mean, so they're selling these things super cheap, and they're not getting them, certified or anything. So it's kind of a hazard for law enforcement and critical services around here when, these companies are shipping over on Amazon these cheap radios that are completely illegal to use in this country unless you have a license, and you go in and I'd have to reprogram this whole thing with the computer to make it even legal for me to operate on ham radio, which I think is just a complete waste. It has a removable antenna. It's not good, and it only got, I put a FRS frequency in it, and it got like 0.1 miles. It wasn't even worth anything. It's not worth anything. So be really careful when you buy even these some of these import Chinese brand radios. All of these except for this one are made in China, so it's not like that's the issue. It's just some of them are just they're just junk. I found that the Retevis brand radios are actually pretty good for what you get, and the reason they're no more expensive than this thing right here, which is a big piece of junk. And I don't think I don't think they're much worse than the standard stuff that you would buy at the store. This is a Midland radio, or you could buy a Motorola Talkabout. I think that these are kind of on par with that, and so we'll get into those features before. This is what I consider sort of the standard of all radios. This is the Yaesu VX8. I'm going to do later on today, I'm going to do a review and a comparison, and we're going to compare, well, maybe I'll compare this too, but it's kind of apples to oranges. But this is we might actually do a comparison between the Murs Retevis and the FRS Retevis. And I did a little bit of testing the other day, and it's a little bit interesting. They are a little different. But for your needs, I could go either way. I mean, it just depends on what you're trying to do. But both of these radios are pretty good, and I really like this. I actually really like this RT68. It looks cool. It is a little bit Motorola-esque. I really like it. It feels good in the hand. It's a pretty basic looking radio. I like the way it looks better than the RT27. This thing, I don't know what. I'm a product designer by trade, and I don't know a lot of what this stuff is doing. I think it's just to be stylish, but it looks kind of weird and kind of too big. This one looks pretty nice. One thing I would like to caution Retevis and any of these other import or Chinese branded radios to be really careful copying other brands. This one looks a lot like a Motorola. It's the Motorola 2050, I think, and they have this kind of oval-shaped details and stuff. So you got to be really careful. And I noticed a couple of Retevis radios look just like the new Motorola Talkabouts. I'm a designer by trade, and that kind of stuff really irritates me when companies go in and they copy other companies. So I'm not going to give Retevis a free pass on that. I am definitely critical of companies when they do products that look too close to other people's products. I don't have any respect for that at all. So, but so far, first impressions are that it's a very simple to operate radio, and they operate the same way. Included, you can plug this in with a standard Baofeng style, Kenwood style connector that goes in there, and it plugs into a USB port on your computer, and you program it. I don't know, I don't have it on my computer, so I don't know what you can change on this. I'm guessing the power settings and the tones and privacy tones and stuff like that. But basically, you can use it out of the box as is, and it's completely legal. So you just turn it on.
Turn on the radio, 1.
And it has that stupid voice, and they all do that.
The radio.
This one says,
Open the radio.
this one says open the radio, this one says turn on the radio, so they're not consistent. Retevis, this is for Retevis, when you do something, a standard control like turning on the radio, make a tone. You don't need to say turn on the radio, just have it do something like this. Have your own little beep or something. You don't need to say turn on the radio. That's just, I don't know why they do that. It sounds really weird. And then when the radio is on,
1.
it tells you what channel you're on. 2.
3.
In kind of this British weird voice.
2.
It works. It's fine. I would rather have a numbering. I mean, I can see numbers underneath it. It's just bad design. You can see numbers underneath both of these knobs. This one goes to 16 because they were using this as an FRS radio at one point, and then they changed it. This only has 5 channels. This has 16, and they have numbers underneath the knob. So I would make this knob to where you can see the numbers, and you don't need the voice. You can turn the voice thing off. I don't like it.
2. 3.
I don't
4.
I don't like it. That part.
3.
It annoys me. I just don't like it. I don't like having something talking at me that's not somebody on the radio. So I would design this to where you can read those numbers and make it really simple. You look at it, oh, it's on channel 4. You just look at channel 4 and then you leave it. The other thing that I don't like about this radio, well, it's weird. This knob right here, the channel frequency selecting knob, it feels really nice, but it's almost too easy to turn. Whereas the RT27V, the knob is much tighter. It doesn't feel as nice, but I've never accidentally changed the channel, and I think it's a weird thing. I don't know. I like the way this one, the new one, the RT68 feels, but it is easier. You can actually accidentally turn that button with, by bumping into something, I think. So if it was me and I wanted to do this manual thing, I would have a button that, if I had my way, I would have a button that pops up, you turn it, and then you push it down, and it would lock it. So I think that then you don't have to worry about bumping into something. So that's my feedback. All right, so we're gonna do the ultimate radio shootout here, and Mrs. D is gonna help me. So we're gonna be inside the house here, and then I'm gonna drive about a mile away, and we're gonna test out all these radios.
I'm gonna set my trip meter here to 1 mile, and we're just gonna go out to 1 mile and see what all these radios do side by side. I'm 0.4 miles away right now, almost a half a mile.
That's really fuzzy and scratchy. I can't copy what you said.
Okay, so we're 1.1 miles away.
It's super fuzzy. I can hear that you're talking, but I can't hear what you're saying. It's just really loud, fuzzy, scratchy sounds.
Okay, that's good to know.
I don't know what that was.
We're on the Murs radio, the 27B. Is this any better or worse?
Much better. I could understand what you said. It's still fuzz and scratchiness, but it's not as loud, and I can hear you and everything you said.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. I can hear you really clear on the 27B. So this is the Murs radio, 2 watts. So that is very interesting.
Yeah, this one is much better. The other one, I couldn't hear you at all.
Yes, this is crystal clear. Let's try one more thing on the other one. Let's put it on channel 1, just to give it a fair shot. I don't know what they have the power settings at, but let's try it.
1.
Okay, back to the RT68. Does it sound any better or worse?
A little bit better. I could hear the beginning of what you said, but then it really got scratchy.
Okay, so I would say this is probably as far as you can go with the RT68. I mean, it's still almost about a little over a mile away. That's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, it's still pretty scratchy, but I could understand you, I think.
All right, so we're going to now try the Midland. All right, so this is the Midland radio. That's very similar to the RT68. How does that come?
I can hear you a little bit. I might need to turn up the volume. Yeah, it's pretty scratchy, but I could hear that you're talking, and I can hear a little bit of what you're saying.
Very similar to the Retevis 68. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what I would say, similar to that smaller short antenna one. But I think that the scratchiness isn't quite as loud on this one.
Copying me on this one still good?
Yes, I copy.
Okay, so we got this one. Let's just stick on this one. This is where we're going to make sure we hear the contact. I'm going to try the ham radio now, just see what happens. This is KF7JSM testing. Just testing real quick. KF7JSM test.
Yeah, that's like super clear.
Super clear, huh? Okay, that's good to know. And the reason that is because I have an external antenna and I am only on 5 watts. I'm not much more power than this radio right here, but I have an external antenna, and that makes all the difference.
Conclusion of the ultimate consumer radio shootout so far. You know, maybe it'll keep expanding. But so, thanks Mrs. D for helping out with the
You're welcome.
evaluation. So what did you think about the Midland? We've had this one for almost 10 years. They still make this radio pretty much. This is the Midland GTX 785. They've changed numbers a little bit, but they have this basically the same radio. What did you think about this one?
Well,
At a mile.
At a mile, it was really scratchy.
Really
I could barely
scratchy.
Understand you.
But
Yeah.
but the quality of the speaker made it kind of hid some of it. So you
Yeah.
pay a little bit more. These are about $90 for a pair of them.
The actual scratchiness was not as jarring.
Not as
Yeah, it
not as
didn't
loud.
hurt.
Yes, that's what I thought.
It didn't hurt your ears as much.
But the reception wasn't super great. I mean, it was. They pitch these as being pretty high power.
Yeah.
They're no. I don't know. I've never thought it was that great, but it's okay. It does last a long time. We've had it for about 10 years. It's kind of a basic radio. It seems to work. The main one we're reviewing here is the RT68. What do you think about this one?
That one was also scratchy.
Scratchy.
But there was a couple times when you said you were turning around or something like that, and it
Came
then it
clear.
was suddenly like really clear.
Yeah, so it's the antenna. I think it's the short antenna on this thing. That if you get it in the exact right spot, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
It's really finicky because this antenna is like really short, and it really is a close range. So around this area, the neighborhood, maybe a little bit beyond, I think it's really good. Actually, do you like the comfort of it? I mean, it feels really nice.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
does.
It's got a little rubber button. I think it feels really it feels really nice. It's lightweight and small, but I think for local, on your property, in a neighborhood, it's going to be perfect.
Right.
What'd you think? What'd you think about the RT27? This is the Murs radio.
That was pretty good.
This one was really good.
I could totally hear you, everything you said. There was some fuzz, but not bad.
That's what I thought. I thought this one was really impressive. And usually this one, I didn't think it would go that far very easily, but when it's outside, it seems to work just fine. You know, I rolled the window down and it seemed to really be nice. If you're inside of a metal building, these seem to kind of get blocked a little bit, but I was pretty impressed with the RT27.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping you guys, I really hope that Retevis comes out with a new radio with like a removable antenna that is a little bit better quality than this one, because I really think the Murs band is highly underrated. Nobody uses it, and honestly, these are always getting interference. Even today, there's all sorts of interference from kids and people talking and playing on these things because everybody can buy one of these radios. But the Murs band, nobody. There's only like 3 radios that even have Murs band on it now. So that makes it. They seem like they go really far, and there's nobody on them. I like it. I still like the Murs. Ham radio. What did you think about the ham radio? Japanese-made radio, Yaesu, old school.
Super clear.
Super clear. So antenna's everything when it gets into the VHF or any sort of walkie-talkie, HT. Antennas on these all are terrible. Every radio you buy at the store, terrible antennas. You put a good antenna on any of these radios and I bet they would work 10 times better. Plus I have an external antenna on my mobile unit in the car. All right, so I think in conclusion, I think it's really down to the antennas. I think all these, the shorter the antenna, the more finicky it has to be. When you're in the right spot, it's really clear. But the Murs band is, man, it's a second runner-up. The lesson here is, Mrs. D, you need to get your ham radio license. That's the real lesson. Everybody should get their ham radio license. I know it's a pain because you have to study for it and it's kind of a pain to do it.
Now that everything has to be done
But
online,
now-
maybe I could do it online.
You know what? They're actually opening up testing online. You don't even have to go in anymore because
there you
you can't.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was saying.
you
You
should
can't
just
go
study
anywhere.
it. Take a week, and Mrs. D's really smart. It wouldn't be a big deal. It'd be like walk in the park, and you can see side by side how good it actually is. This is not a bad radio. I would say for $20 for a set of these things, compared to $90, what would you get?
$20.
I'd get $20.
Yeah.
It's a really good radio, and you know what? If you're worried about being made in the USA, guess what? The Midland's made in the same place, probably the same. so I mean, it's apples to apples. I would pay $20 for the Retevis rather than $90 for the Midland. I mean, I just don't see. I don't see it. Midland claims, the thing I like about Retevis, we talked about this before, is they say these are good for about a mile, and that's about what it was. These make the claim, and this is what all like Motorola and all these people do. They say these go 36 miles.
What?
Yeah,
no,
they're like 36 miles. Like
we use
it's
those,
so fake.
We use those when we talk back and forth with my parents when they're in their car and we're
Do
in
they
our
go
car.
36 miles?
And as soon as we're like, well, a mile or a little bit more,
There's no way.
you cannot get a hold of
The
them
power
anymore.
ratings on these that they claim are just, they're so wrong.
Yeah.
Everything's wrong. You shouldn't be claiming that.
No,
Retevis
that's
is,
ridiculous.
the thing I like about Retevis is all these two radios, when you look them up, they only claim 1 mile. And I think that's really accurate.
Yeah.
1.2 miles, I think that's really accurate. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a much more, it doesn't sound as glamorous, but I mean, in the perfect conditions, if you're up in the air and 36 miles, yeah, it's going to work. But in real conditions, I think they have these things really pretty well dialed in. So I'm fairly impressed. I mean, Retevis did send these out to evaluate for free for us to test. So we're going to put the Amazon link. I believe the Amazon link's for a 4-pack for around $50. I didn't see exactly what the price was, but for me, I think, you're talking $12 a radio or something like that. I think that's a really good deal. You can't really beat that. Yeah, they don't have the range of a ham radio, but if you're looking at local neighborhood operations or on a property or a ranch or a farm, I don't think you can go wrong. So the natives are getting restless here. So we're going to wrap this up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Kind of fun to do. See you guys on the next one.
See you later.